Thank you so much to everybody that took a few minutes to watch my last video. I'm super excited to share more in this video and dive into some awesome free teaching we have. So stay tuned for that. If you didn't watch that first video, I want to encourage you to go check that out. I will link to it below in the comments if you're watching this on YouTube. So I am Amy Small. I am the owner and founder of Knit Collage, a business I started just over 14 years ago, where along with a kick-butt team, I design yarns, unique hand-spun yarns, knitting and crochet patterns, and teach knitting and crochet online. So I've been doing this for quite a long time. This will be the 15th time that I am hosting a make-along, something we like to consider our Super Bowl around here. As a team, we work on this behind the scenes for months and months, getting the patterns up to par and making beautiful yarns and creations for you to get excited and inspired about. So in that first video, I talked about how making things transforms us in so many positive ways, that it's not just about the knitting or the crochet. It's a tool we can use to bring about more creativity and greater feelings of calm and relaxation. That's just to name a few. There's so many. All of us juggle the ups and downs of daily life. I don't think there's one person on earth that can escape that. There are some days that are filled with worry, anxiety, unexpected fires in one area or another. We could all use a little connection, beauty through beautiful yarns and patterns, and maybe most of all, a little self-care through our knitting and crocheting. When we're more relaxed, calm, and confident, and we have that deeper connection to our own creativity, it changes how we show up in the world. And that has a ripple effect, right, on the people around us. So because of that deep practice, that deep knitting and crocheting practice I have, I'm able to show up for my kids, my friends, teammates here at Knit Collage in a different way than I would have without that. That ripple effect is massive. In that video, I also talked about how difficult it can be to keep up your motivation after you start a project and actually finish it, right? That is really hard. One of the biggest challenges makers face. It can be hard to find help when you need it in the moment, and it can be hard to learn new techniques. Our make-alongs are a wonderful way to get support from expert coaches in the moment, as well as an amazing community that holds you accountable so that you actually finish your project. Today, I'd love to go deeper into each of the 4 style options that will be knitting and crocheting. As part of the make-along, you will instantly get access to a video course on how to knit or crochet each of those designs from start to finish. These are broken down into bite-sized chunks and taught by myself. This is where you learn all the new techniques, check your knowledge. Maybe it's something you knew before, but you need a refresher. These are really, really valuable. So I've created this free knitting workshop for you that is jam-packed with knowledge. It includes tutorials from everything from the basics of how to do the knit and purl stitch, both continental and English style, how to read a pattern, a question that comes up a ton, how to choose a size for this pattern and the sunbeam pattern, how to pick up stitches, how to embrace an intuitive creative knitting practice, my favorite. There are 23 free video tutorials for you in total, and I am going to link below on exactly how to access them. So do not miss out on those. Those are super valuable. So first up, let's switch over to my computer screen and I'm going to show you how Teachable works so you can get an idea of how it works and also get an idea of what our video classes look like for a particular style. So I'm going to show you with the Flower Power Cardi, a design that's already been published, not the one we'll be making for spring, but just so you can get an idea of what that's like. This is just an example from our spring knit along, the Flower Power Cardi, and this is what the classes look like in Teachable. So you will get a Teachable class for each of the main design styles we will be knitting, and these are yours forever. You can watch these videos as many times as you like. I go through each style in very bite-sized chunks, so you can see your patterns and your bonus patterns are all located in this first section. Then we go to week 1, and it's going to be just an intro to the pattern. I talk about gauge. So you've got all these videos here for you. I try to keep them pretty short. Some of them are longer if the style's more difficult or the technique's more difficult, around 10 minutes, but some of them are really short, just 2 or 3 minutes if it's a very simple technique. So me in a funny face talking about the flower power and the pattern details. We have a video over here on fit, can help you choose the right size. I usually talk about the yarn and how to read a pattern in one video. So this is what these videos look like from the hand perspective. You'll see my hands, most of these videos, not me. We can go in here. This is how to cast on. So a lot of you might know this, but this is what my videos look like. I think this is long tail cast on for this sweater. As many times as you want to watch these, you absolutely can. So that's that. I break these up by the schedule I've set forth. So week 1 for this sweater was just casting on and prepping your yarn, choosing your size. And then week 2 is starting your left sleeve knitting. So each style will be different and it's completely achievable. Of course, if you want to race ahead, by all means. If you want to take it more slowly, that's great. We are here for you to support you, whatever your speed is, and these videos will be there for you. So you can see Flower Power, I think it was over 25 videos in total. So there's a lot of videos per style that you get with the whole knit along experience. So that is how I teach. So before we move on and talk about each design and the yarn in detail, I want to share about the power of the video tutorials and just joining into a make along like this where you're in a group of incredibly creative people all making the same things at the same time. So let's hear from Kelly, who just took part in our Fae Fringe Bag Challenge, a mini version of a knit along. Hi Knit Collage, what did I enjoy most from this challenge where there were just too many things to count, but here are a few. 1, I learned so much. A new cast on, new stitches, new cast off, and so much more. 2, the video lessons were the absolute best. They were clear and concise and so easy to follow. 3, the yarns, they were each beautiful and unique. Number 4, but the most wonderful part of this challenge was that it allowed me to tap into my creativity. My creativity was lost for a bit, but because of this challenge, I found it again. I want to knit more, use more color, and be okay with mistakes and enjoy the entire process. Thank you, thank you. I can't wait for the next one. That was so awesome. And that is just one of so many quotes we have from people who had super positive experiences just recently in our last challenge. All right, so I want to take some time to tell you about our yarn because it is a very unique yarn and not everybody understands the process and the team and how much goes into bringing it to life. So here we go. All of our yarns are hand spun by a team of 16 women in India that I trained to spin in my technique that I learned quite a long time ago. And this began 14 years ago, like I mentioned right at the beginning of the video. So this team does everything that involves bringing the yarn to life. So the first step of the process is carding the fiber. It's all hand carded. And this is by a few members on the team who take the yarn colors and they mix them together. And this is where we really get to have fun with all the colors coming together, different sparkle, different fibers. It's a very creative process and is one that's very unique to hand spinning. So after the carding, the yarn goes to the spinner. If the yarn has trims in it, there are a few women on the team who actually make the trims that go into the yarn or thread them so that they can be spun into the yarn. If you're using our daisy chain yarn, the daisies are thread and then the threads are spun into the yarn. Some of the yarns actually have ribbons spun into them, so the trims are cut, these ribbon trims are cut into lengths that they are then spun into the yarn by the spinner by. So when the carded fiber reaches the spinner, she gets the fiber and the trims if she needs them, and she spins them all together. A process that takes quite a long time. It's stop and go because you're stopping every time you add a trim to the yarn. After that, the fiber is either steamed or washed to set everything into place. Then it's checked for quality control, a label is added, and it's sent on our way. Now, the lead time for the yarn, because this process is so intense and there's only so many of them, them and us is over 6 months. So when I order yarn for a make along or challenge, whatever we're working on, new season, I have to decide what to order so far in advance. I think it's around 8 or 9 months in advance. So it's really hard to know what all of you will like, what the most popular colors will be, which is why I always suggest if you know what you want early, then place your order as early as possible to ensure you get that colorway. So those are the yarns. I am going to India in May, and if you would like to follow along on that, definitely follow along on Instagram. Super excited. So let's dive into each design. I want to talk a little bit about the yarns involved in each design and what you can expect to learn from each of those designs. So along with this video, I have a detailed blog post that is going to have all the fit and size details. So if you decide you'd like to figure out your size beforehand, I encourage you to go check that out. I will also share all the available color combinations that myself and the team have come up with for these designs. And then lastly, we will have the price of all the kits as well. So you can check that out for more details too. Okay, so let's dive into the Lotus sweater. This is the one I'm wearing here. This design is by Julia Norris. She's a relatively new collaborator with Knit Collage. And it is a beautiful lightweight spring and summer pattern knit in our Spun Cloud Light yarn. So this is our Spun Cloud Light yarn. It's a much thinner yarn than our other yarns, than our Spun Cloud. It has a thick and thin texture with a little bit of lurex in it, so it's got a teeny bit of sparkle, and it is wool. It is lightweight though, it's thin, it's not super bulky and chunky, so it's ideal for a cool night in summer. The contrast colors that go down the center are our Wildflower yarn. This is a screen printed yarn that is made in Jaipur, India. It's a fabric that's hand screen printed and then shipped up to our team of spinners who then laser cut it and then knot it into yarn. So this is what it looks like in a mini skein kit, which you'll need for the front panel here. This is a brand new colorway we have coming for spring, and this is an existing one, but still really pretty. So this yarn is super cool because as you knit it, you see the print pop out. It's lightweight, it's not heavy. It creates a really cool texture and interest in your design. So it's one we use a lot for spring and summer because it is cotton. So that is the Lotus sweater. Now, what can you expect to learn in the Lotus sweater? So many things. This is an intermediate sweater pattern, so we'll be tackling some more advanced techniques like intarsia, knitting in the round, knitting magic loop, twisted rib, the lotus stitch that you see down the yoke. That's it. Those are the major things that you'll learn in this design. It's a great one for folks that have maybe knit their first sweater, but they're looking to take their skills to that next level and really up level with some new techniques. So that is the Lotus sweater. Okay, so the next style I want to talk about is the Lotus pillow. Oh my gosh, this design is so cool. I have many visions in my mind, and this is really the companion piece to the sweater. This is the smaller option if you want to do an accessory that's not going to take as long to knit. This is a great option for you. This pattern calls for the same yarns as the Lotus sweater, the Spun Cloud Light and the Wildflower mini skein kits, and you will learn many of the same techniques you learn in the sweater. You'll learn intarsia, that lotus stitch, and then the applied I-cord edge, which is on all sides of the pillow and really a fantastic technique to have in your knitting arsenal. So that is the pillow. It's also great if you have less time on your hands. Pillow is super achievable in the course of the duration of the make along. Let's dive into the Sunbeam Stripe cardigan. This is a fantastic sweater for anyone that's looking to try their first sweater, who's never knit a sweater before. This is the perfect one to try. It's so simple. Or anyone who really loves just getting wild and free and having a lot of fun with yarn and color and texture. texture. It's one of my favorite things. So the reason it's such a great beginner sweater is because it's a very simple construction. It's knit cuff to cuff. So we cast on at a cuff and we cast off at a cuff. You will learn techniques like how to knit a rib, how to do increase and decrease stitches, how to do the backward loop cast on method, how to pick up stitches for a rib band. Lots of basic techniques that will come in handy in many other more challenging patterns in your knitting journey should you choose to try them, and I hope you will. So the really fun part about this pattern is that we combine lots of different yarns and colors together. So we have kitted it this way with one main color, Spun Cloud color. So our Spun Cloud is a yarn that is thick and thin, a bulkier weight with a little bit of lurex also around it, so similar to Spun Cloud Light. We have over 20 colors in this yarn. So you have one main color and one contrast color, and then you have one mini skein sampler kit to choose that will also give you lots of different contrast colors to play with in this design. In one of these kits, you have all 5 different yarns. So you've got one Wildflower, one Spun Cloud, one daisy chain that has all these daisies spun into it, one Dreamland, another really fun one that is chock full of trims, and then our Castaway, a beautiful one that's really all about the carding process and the cocoon-like texture. So you'll mix that in, and then you'll mix in also a Wildflower mini kit that I already showed you. So you've got all these yarns to play with and really get free and have fun with. It's gonna be a blast. I can't wait to see these come alive because I know not 2 of them will look the same. It's gonna be a blast. So let's dive into the next design. The next design is the Frolic crochet shawl. Oh, and I should have mentioned the Sunbeam is by designer Cheryl Kubat. The Frolic crochet shawl is by myself. And this design is really all about basic crochet skills. So we will be tackling the basics of crochet, chain, single crochet, double crochet, treble crochet, and creating beautiful flower shapes from them. I'm super excited to try it out with you because the whole idea here is you can make the crochet flower shapes that I've suggested and you can put them together in the way that I will give you the pattern for. It's all written there. Or you can use the pattern as a framework or a jumping off point to put your flowers together in a way that's completely unique and speaks to you. So I have visions of creating a festival-esque vest with these flowers. You could really do so many things with them. So I'm super excited to see what comes from all of those. So in this pattern, you will use 3 different colorways of our waterfall yarn, which I'm going to show you here. It is so cool. It is this beautiful hand-dyed viscose yarn. So each skein almost looks like a watercolor painting trapped on this ribbon yarn. It's really beautiful. It's great for spring and summer, very drapey, very breezy. And of course, this shawl is going to be very open because of the crochet. So you'll be mixing these together along with a full skein of Wildflower and a Wildflower mini skein kit. So like the Sunbeam Stripe Cardi, there's going to be ample room for you to play and experiment and have fun with color placement here. It's going to be a blast, and I'm really excited to have a pattern in here that uses the waterfall yarn because that's a first for us. Those are all 4 designs. We may have another design up our sleeves coming at you later. I don't know. Stay tuned for that. Maybe. If any of these designs seem scary or complicated, please don't fret. As part of the make along, we have the video courses that I spoke about, but also lots of live coaching opportunities for you to ask questions in the moment. So we have tons of ways for you to get help and push past anything you don't know or any mistakes to make it to that finish line. So that's it for today. I want to encourage you to go access that free knitting workshop that I put together for you. It's got a lot of my most favorite techniques like needle felting ends, intuitive knitting, and so much more. And then the blog post where I detail the size and fit details, the yarn details are all listed out, as well as pricing, and available color combinations. So please go check that out. In the next video coming out on Monday, I'm going to share exactly what comes in the knit along. I've kind of hinted that you're going to get these video courses, but we'll dive into what the coaching looks like and the community and so much more. Exactly how to join in, that's coming there too. So let me know in the comments which design is calling to you. Is more than one calling to you? I always make all of them, so please let me know in the comments what's calling you most. I can't wait to see. All right, bye.